Hello, my name is Alexis McDaniel and welcome back to the Queen's Kitchen. Today we have a royal treat for you. In honor of Cinco de Mayo next week, we're going to be making a Mexican style dish. So we're going to be making PhilPoppin corn pudding. And you'll understand what the poppin' part is once we get into the ingredients. First we're going to start off with our pan, and we're going to heat about a tablespoon of butter. And then we're going to begin sauteing a bunch of our vegetables that we have. Starting off, we have one jalapeno. I have removed the seeds and the cords from the inside. This is one of the ingredients that gives the pop to it. So I'm going to put this in the pan as well. I have cut up an onion, one whole onion. We're going to use it a little bit later, so I'm just going to use about half of the onion. And last but not least, we have ancho chilies. Now, I got the dried part, the dried chili, and I have chopped it up in the food processor, and we are going to need it for a little bit later as well. So I'm just going to put half in here, and this is going to help add to the pop part as well. And I'm going to leave this in here for about 5 minutes. You want it to get a little brown, get the onions a little brown, translucent, all that good stuff. And then we want the vegetables that we have in here to cook and get soft as well. So we're going to wait about 5 minutes on that. Now the 5 minutes has gone by. The next thing that we're going to put in is 3 tablespoons of flour. Now the flour is just going to make it a little thicker and kind of pull the mixture in together that we have. Now, since it has been cooking, we have a nice aroma coming from the pan. Nice spices from the chilies and also from the onions. So we're going to mix it up. We're going to let it cook for about 3 minutes. You don't want the mixture to burn, so just keep an eye on it, and you'll know it's ready when the flour gets brown. So make sure you're scraping it, don't let it burn, and once all of the white flour is gone and it's turned to brown, you'll know that it's done. 3 minutes has gone by. We have a nice brown mixture going on. The next thing that we're going to do is pour in 2 cups of milk, and this is going to start our pudding mixture. And just keep stirring while you're pouring everything in. The next thing we have is a cup of cheddar cheese. Of course, the more cheese the better. This just adds more creaminess to it, and of course cheddar cheese has a wonderful flavor as well. We're going to stir that in. And the next cheese that we have is our Philadelphia cream cheese. And I have just a whole 8-ounce package. I haven't cut it up. I'm just going to use my spatula once I pour it in to get it all nice and cut up so that it melts easier. And then we're going to let the mixture sit and let everything mix together. We want all of the cheese melted, all of the cheddar cheese, as well as the Philadelphia cream cheese. And this is just going to take a couple of minutes to get it all nice and melted together. This is smelling wonderful. We have all of the cheeses melted, everything mixed together, and the cream cheese is making this mixture just smell so wonderful and amazing. One of the second to last things that we're going to put in here are 2 eggs. I've gone ahead and beat them. I'm going to put a little bit of the mixture in there just to temper it, so the eggs being a little cooler won't do anything to the mixture. And then I'm just going to pour them in. And then the final ingredient that we have is the corn. You can't have the corn pudding without the corn. You can just use a bag of frozen corn and let it sit out for a little bit, because once you put it in, if it's frozen, the mixture's going to want to stick to it. So if it sits out, it won't do that as badly. I'm going to put in the corn, put the mixture into our pan. Put a topping on it so it will have a nice crunch to it. We're done topping the wonderful mixture. We're going to put it in for about 40 minutes. Now while our corn pudding is cooking in the oven, we're going to make a sauce to go on top of it. What I've done is taken a tablespoon and a half of butter and begin to melt it in the pan. Now the next thing that we're going to do is put our onions in it. Remember, we cut up a whole onion. We're just going to put the remaining of it in there and let this cook for a few minutes until it gets nice and translucent. And then the next thing that we're going to put in is our garlic. Depending on how much garlic you like, I'd recommend putting in about 2 tablespoons. Once again, if you don't like garlic a whole lot, you don't have to put in as much. And then we're going to let that sit for a few minutes. Of course, you're going to want to stir it a little bit. And then the next thing that we're going to put in is the remaining of our ancho chilies. Have those nice and cut up. Put that in. Going to add the kick to the sauce as well. And then I have cut up a half of a red pepper. So I'm going to put that in. And you're going to want to cook this until it gets nice and soft and the onions get a little bit brown. And just keep stirring it just so it doesn't burn on the bottom. And we're cooking this over medium heat. So it'll take just about 2 or 3 minutes to get to the point where we can add our next ingredient. Now our mixture's been going for about 2 minutes. It's nice and bubbly. The next thing that I'm going to add in, which is going to add a pop of green, is some cilantro. I have about 2 tablespoons that I've gotten and cut up. And this will make it smell really good as well. So I'm going to let that sit in, just mix it in, and then I'll start cooking with all the other ingredients. And then, of course, we're going to add our special ingredient of cream cheese. And the good thing about this is it's going to make our sauce a lot thicker. So I'm going to add, it's about 3 ounces of cream cheese. I'm going to cut it up a little bit so it starts melting easier. And it's smelling really good with the cilantro and the peppers, and it's going to smell even better after this cream cheese gets all melted in there. So I'm going to let that go. And then we're also going to add a little bit of maple syrup. And this is going to add some sweetness to it. So it's not just all peppers and all spices and all cheese. So it'll give just, I like a lot of sweet things, so I'm very excited about the maple syrup in it. I'm going to let that sit just about 1/4 of a cup of the maple syrup. And then mix it in with the rest of our ingredients, and it's going to start smelling so great. And then once this starts mixing all together, we're going to put in our final ingredient, which is 1.5 cups of chicken stock. And get that and pour it in. And we have poured in our chicken stock. And the wonderful thing about this sauce is it has a lot of good color to it. You got your red from your pepper, green from your cilantro, and then the mixture is almost kind of orange. So just a lot of vibrant colors going on. It's wonderful. So we're going to let this sit for a few minutes. Our mixture has been going for about 5 minutes now. It's getting a little bubbly from the heat, but that's perfectly fine. I do want it a little bit thicker though. So I've gotten about 1/4 of a cup of flour. I'm going to spread it out evenly and mix it all together. And this is just going to make it a little thicker, so when we pour it onto our corn pudding, it's not going everywhere. Now the corn pudding has finished cooking after the 40 minutes, and it's nice and brown on top, been bubbling, and it smells wonderful. And of course we have our sauce that we're going to put on top of it. Nice creamy mixture, nice and thick as well. So I'm going to get a little bite of this. And then I'm also going to put some of my sauce on top. I'm very excited. And of course, if you don't want your sauce as thick, you can always not put any flour in it, or if you've put the flour in it and it gets too thick, just put a little more chicken stock in it and you'll be good to go. So I'm going to take a bite of it and see how it tastes. Ooh. Definitely poppin'. You got the kick from the jalapenos, from the ancho chilies, and definitely the Philadelphia cream cheese brings it all together. And all the topping on top is nice and crunchy. Oh, it is so wonderful. Now that is our QK-PhilPoppin corn pudding. Thank you very much for joining us at the Queen's Kitchen and making a royal meal. We'll see you next time.